One of the issues I'd like to talk about today is about working with people who are transgendered in the workplace. There's been a lot in the newspapers, there's been articles in terms of bathroom bills, there's a lot that's going on in terms of our society about transgender, whether you're looking at can they be in the military, etc. And many times people think, well, that's out there in society, it doesn't impact us. We were working recently with a client, and one of the things that they talked about was that they had someone who was transitioning, who worked in a plant. And so the organization was saying, we need some awareness, we need to understand how do we better address some of the transgender issues in the workplace, and how do we make sure that the person who's transitioning gets the support that she needs to be able to really stay in the workplace and be successful. And so one of the things that we did was bring in a panel of 4 people that we know who are transitioning or have transitioned, who are transgender, to really share their stories with the HR group about their experiences. And one of the things that was really interesting about that conversation, besides the fact that it was enlightening for everyone, was the struggles of the HR group to really think about all the ways in which there are barriers to enable that individual to transition. Besides the normal things that may be there in terms of people feeling not accepting, there are other things just in terms of being able to deal, and the bathroom bills. We won't even go down the bathroom conversation. But the issues about emails. So when she was transitioning, one of the challenges was they had to change her email to her new name, and people wondered, what was this? And so they didn't think about how do we communicate this in a way that doesn't out her, but does it in a way that enables her to feel empowered. One of the things that the panel members talked about, one of the women on the panel was an engineer, and she talked about the fact that all of her records were in her former name as a man. And the HR group then said, you know, if we would have seen that resume that you had, we would have thought it was a scam. We wouldn't have even invited you in for an interview, yet you're incredibly qualified. And so there was a big discussion about how so many of the policies and the practices and the systems we use are not geared to support someone who's transgender and their transition process. And so we don't even know or think about all the legal documentation that's necessary. Social security numbers, how do we change names? All the questions about the things that need to happen so that someone can really be able to do their best work in an organization, let alone the social side of it and the social stigma that people may be carrying. So for us, I think there's so much more for us to learn about transgender and how do we support people who are transgender and transitioning wherever they may be in their journey. But I think one of the things that became clear for me, and I think for the people around that table, was we have so much more work to do to really make sure that we're successfully supporting people who are transitioning and who really are just trying to live a life that's like all of us, doing their best work, loving, living, and being who they can be. So thank you for listening today. There's a lot more for us to discuss. If you'd like to engage around this, please put a comment below. We'd love to engage with you about this. And you can visit us on our website, www.kjcg.com. Thanks again for joining us today.